You can throw the U.S. housing market playbook away. We're about to go through what I call a flash crash. Hey everybody, Scott Walters, welcome to the channel. If you're new, I want to thank you for coming. If you're returning, I want to thank you for your continued support. Before we get into today's red hot topic, I'm going to politely ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please watch to the end for my final thought. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos are released. It's very important to stay close to the channel in these very tricky times. All right, folks, welcome to the channel. Always an honor and a privilege to be with you. I hope you're all doing great. Buckle up and strap in. I got a hard-hitting pull, no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows or sunshine. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. And friends, you can throw away the playbook of whatever you thought you could pull from previous bubbles to try to make sense of what's coming. Insane. I've always said, or at least I know I've said it a few times, this one's going to come down to street smarts over book smarts. Experience will always outweigh any data you can pull from, in my opinion. Now, the realities are, friends, this is a very unique housing bubble we're in. This was artificially created, market manipulation, due to our federal government overstimulating the one asset class they really shouldn't have, the U.S. housing market, by making realtors essential workers in a health crisis, dropping rates and sending them out to oversell houses, and they kicked the can way too far down the road. And then the industry tried to normalize it. Narratives like this time is different, loans are better, whatever the case may be. And if you've watched this channel, you know I've always said, you're right, this time is different. It's worse. My gosh, can you see what's going on? So the realities are, friends, I really think that we have to throw away the playbook as we try to dissect the data of the past and what's coming. Now, I think there's going to be a lot of data points that could, in fact, prove to be useful, but I believe what we're going to see next is, in fact, a flash crash. This bubble that we're in was the biggest bubble ever produced in human history. We've never seen anything quite like this before in our lifetimes, if ever. So the realities are, I think this one is going to behave much differently than previous housing bubbles. And here's the shocking part for me personally. When this got normalized and people raced out in the height of the biggest bubble ever recorded in history, went above and beyond appraised values, overpaid for homes. As the reverse course has now started, we're seeing people no longer owning their homes. Their homes, in fact, own them. They are tied to these houses, and they never went and checked those properties' rent ranges. So they have no option to maybe put a renter in there if they can no longer pay their bills, or they're being cash burdened trying to keep up with these payments because inflation is slowly robbing them. And because so many people put pressure to buy homes in this euphoria, the last thing to go will be the home. This is going to be a very tricky one. I think this is going to be much worse than 2008, where people eventually walked away from their homes. It was painful. This one will be more painful because people really went all in on this real estate bubble. So it's a really scary, unfortunate situation that we're currently going in. So what we're going to do today is there's many areas that got overheated. I think everywhere in the U.S. really experienced some appreciation in the real estate, but some areas did it in a very ridiculous manner, and people drank the Kool-Aid. A lot of investors poured into those markets trying to build or buy up houses. We saw a lot of these iBuyers trying to go in and just buy houses at any cost, and we've seen they're all out of the market now. Everybody is basically handcuffed in basically a standstill on the sidelines, not doing anything. People now are doing what we've been telling people to do from the beginning. People got on the sidelines, and more importantly, what's happening now, forced on the sidelines. So we're at that breaking point, that razor's edge. The government's created that two-headed monster with runaway inflation and a risen interest rate environment. They do not know how to put it back in its cage. It's in fact a runaway train. So we'll either end up in a slow motion crash if we keep headed the way we're headed now, or it's going to be in fact a flash crash. Something's going to just come out of left field and really spook these markets. Take your pick. There's many things we can talk about today on potentially things right now that are showing birth pains of spooking this market, specifically the stock market. The stock market is very questionable at best, very volatile. A lot of people stuck in those markets trying to make a living in there. with a casino climate, but they're on borrowed time. Most people see the writing on the wall. It now becomes how hard do we get? I've always said I get hit in this thing too. I will get hit in this one too. My real estate will take a reduction. My purchasing power is being reduced. That's just we all are in the same boat. We're all in this together. But those of us who have been awake, that stayed centered and surrounded with like-minded people, this will be less blindsiding. So as somebody that's lived through a lot of this type of behavior before, I'm here to help you guys understand this is happening again, and this time will be, this time is going to be a very, very different time, a very difficult time for millions and millions of people. And it's our job to help people. You've heard me say our rewards in life are in direct proportion to our contribution. I know for me to become rich or maintain my wealth, I have to make you wealthy first. And knowledge is power. If I can wake people up and save American lives, if not globally, that's what I'm prepared to do as I raise awareness, ring the bell, and sound the alarm. So today we're going to take a little ride over to Salt Lake City, Utah. Just a quick peek at a property on what's happened to them and how alarming this truly is. So let's go ahead and roll this footage, and then we'll meet back here and wrap this one up. Let's get started. All right, friends, welcome to Salt Lake City, Utah, an area that got way too red hot. You might want to buckle up, strap in, roll up your windows, and lock your doors. It's not looking too glamorous as we make our way over to today's featured property. And here we go. Zillow shows everybody else going through price reductions. And of course, that's what today's property will be doing as well. Let's go ahead and take a look. And here we go. A massive, massive problem with this property is it's currently priced at over $500,000, going through price reductions in big, big trouble. This thing needs a massive amount of work. It looks like somebody potentially bought it, thought they'd flip it, and it went sideways on them. As the market cooled off, interest rates rose, and everything went sideways. The game of musical chairs stopped. The house of cards started to crumble. And look it, now the property is gutted, looking worse than it was probably when they bought it. Now, let's get into the numbers to see, in fact, what this property is even really worth, if anything, at all. And before we do, we can see that they're trying to sugarcoat this one, telling you it's priced to sell and a ton of potential. And it has this, that, and the other thing, when we could see for ourselves, this thing is in massive trouble. And there you go. Even if it was move-in ready, its mid-range value range is only $515,000. They're at $525,000 and need work. What are they thinking? Who would buy a property that needs work when they can buy one that doesn't for less? This is absolute insanity. And if you gave them their asking price, you're over you're over $3,000 a month just to service the loan itself, not to mention the amount of work the property needs. And if you wanted to rent it, forget about that. The property would only rent for $2,700 a month. In my opinion, this one still has much further to go. Let's get back to the studio so we can wrap this one up. All right, friends, welcome back. So that's just one place in America. It's like throwing darts at a map. You're probably going to hit an area that's doing the exact same thing. This was a game of musical chairs. The music has stopped. This really looks like a flash crash to me. When you see a property on the market that needs that amount of work, their asking price is what it would cost. The comps are for less. This thing is really out of touch with reality, and that's what happened to this housing market versus previous housing markets like I've talked about. This one never made sense from the beginning. It lost touch with reality. There was zero organic growth. It was all artificial growth due to herd mentality and FOMO. It doesn't end well, unfortunately. As much as I'd love to say this is a great opportunity, this is a great fix and flip opportunity, it's just not. I know eventually we're probably going to be talking about that. It is way too early. We're at the front end of a recession, the tail end of a crisis. It has to play out. The dust will settle. In final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as a content creator. Somebody wants to see you not only win in real estate, win in life. Understanding the biggest artificially created housing bubble has reversed course. It's trending the opposite direction. We're on the verge of potentially a flash crash where you can just throw out the playbook. This one will be learn as you go, street smarts over book smarts. Get somebody with experience that's forward thinking, critical thinking, not sugarcoating it and relying on too much data to try to explain or predict the future. If we've learned anything through this crisis, you cannot rule anything out ever. If you appreciate the content, I do want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Social media links are in the description of this video if you'd like to follow me there, along with links to channels I've appeared on I think you might enjoy. If you're interested in buying or selling real estate, here in America, I have the biggest network of top-rated agents in the world ready to assist you. It would be our honor and our privilege to do so. If you're watching from your television set today and you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to love the next video, and there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please go make it count today. I'll see you on the next video.